Hello, I'm Shaun Leane. I'm the President of the Legislative Council in the Victorian Parliament, and I'm here to give an update of what happened during this week's parliamentary sitting. There was 4 pieces of legislation debated and passed in this chamber during the sitting week. One of them was the National Gas Victoria Amendment Bill, which enables the expansion of Victorians' declared gas transmission system capacity, and amongst other things around those particular transmission system issues. There was a committee stage where the bill was considered clause by clause, but this was passed and it wasn't amended during that committee stage. Another piece of legislation was the Entities Legislation Amendment Consolidation and Other Matters Bill, and this bill looks to achieve savings through amendments in various acts. This was considered in a committee stage, and there was amendments passed, which was sent to the Assembly Chamber for their consideration. Another piece of legislation was the Justice legislation for the Amendment Bill, and this also a bill that amends various acts to improve the operation of the courts and the justice system. This was passed as well with the committee stage. Also had amendments, which shows that the democracy and our system is actually working. Those amendments were sent to the Assembly for their consideration. The last piece of legislation was the Electoral Amendment Bill, which reforms the Electoral Act to ensure it's up to date and fit for purpose, and clarify requirements and processes for the conduct of elections where uncertainty exists. This was passed, also amended, so this chamber was quite busy with their committee stage. Other items that were debated and discussed in this chamber that outside of legislation were items like experimentation on animals, pharmacy provisions of certain drugs, integrity agencies, health funding, and waste and recycle management, among other things. Events outside the chamber during the Parliament week, it's always very busy, a very busy week again this week. I'll just touch on 2 events. Public Libraries Victoria had an event in here celebrating the 302 public libraries in Victoria. There's also 233 mobile library stops where a mobile library attends those stops, and MPs and staff joined Public Libraries Victoria, and it celebrated the role, that really important role that our public libraries play in our local communities. Another fantastic event that happened on the precinct was the launch of the Youth Yarning with Mob podcast series, which is supported by the Parliament. It's a partnership between the Parliament and the Curie Academy, and there's a series of interviews with a number of prominent First Nation people, which will be available on the parliamentary YouTube channel. There's a couple of episodes, I understand, available now, and there'll be a number of episodes available during coming weeks. Fantastic effort. The Curie Academy are an amazing group, and these young First Nation people have done an amazing job interviewing a number of influential First Nation people. Really, if you get a chance, do yourself a favour and watch some of these episodes. Fantastic work by everyone at the Parliament of Victoria that are fantastic in the technicalities of producing things like this podcast. Next sitting week, there will be some legislation that came from the Assembly during the week that will be considered: the Regulatory Legislation Amendment Reform Bill and Safe Food Victoria Bill. I will give you an update at the end of that week of how those pieces of legislation travelled through this particular chamber, and other things that are happening around the precinct. I look forward to seeing you then.